People skills are a major contributor for someone who wants to live a more enriching, fulfilling, and even happier life. Have you ever met somebody who's liked by everybody? They just love her. That person is probably using the rudiments of people skills, whether the person's doing it intentionally or unconsciously. That individual is an excellent listener who actively lets others know she's paying attention by keeping good eye contact, by nodding, by smiling. That person just simply listens a lot more than she talks. People are mainly interested in themselves, not you and me. It's human nature, and that applies to us also. We are interested in ourselves, mainly, not the other person. During the past few years, people are now saying, me and John, me and Debbie, instead of the proper English that's really John and I, or Debbie and I. They're putting themselves first instead of always putting themselves last. This may seem very trivial, but folks, it actually adds up to better people skills. My wife and I have an agreement. If we bump into some friends or simply somebody that we've never met before, and one of us starts talking more than we're listening, we tap each other twice in the back, which means be quiet and listen. You see, we hold each other accountable. Let's talk leadership. A key element of leadership is that you have to earn the right to speak into someone's life so that you can influence them to follow your lead. You have to earn it. You have to get to know them so that they feel that you care. How do you do that? By listening more than talking. Listening is so important that I want to give you two quick examples. Number one, let's just say you're a brand new manager at a bank and you have three supervisors that are reporting to you. You want to sit down with each one of them and get to know them, listen to them, earn the right to speak into their lives so that they know that you care about them. Second example, your daughter's a brand new doctor and you and your wife run into a couple that you really hit it off with. And in listening and talking to them, they tell you that their son is an EMT, an emergency respondent. And you have to listen to them. Do not make the mistake of talking about your daughter, how she's a doctor. It may make them feel bad. Instead, say, EMT, this is amazing. That must be really exhilarating. You're very proud of him, aren't you? Listen more than talk. I know that many of you have great people skills, but remember that people skills is an ongoing process for the rest of our lives. So take the time, invest the time to get to know somebody. Ask people, hey, how was your vacation in Mexico? I want to hear all about it. Or how's your son doing in Australia in that new job? Tell me about it. Now I'm going to challenge you that if you meet somebody for the first time, sit down with yourself afterwards and ask yourself, what was the person's name? What are they like for fun? Where are they from? All these questions so that you can quiz yourself. I'm going to teach you something too. There are people that comes easy to talk to people. Others are not. So if you meet somebody you hit it off with, remember the acronym FORM, F-O-R-M. F stands for family, O stands for occupation, what they do, R for recreation, and M for miscellaneous. So if you're talking to somebody, say, where's your family from? And then you can shift later to say, what do you do for work, occupation? And recreation, you get to know somebody, what they like to do. Let's talk about how to make somebody feel important. Believe me, everybody wants to be treated special, as if they're somebody, instead of being treated as if they're nobody. So how do we do this? Number one, remember, listen to them. Very important. Have you ever gone to a bank and you walk in and nobody's looking at you, but somebody says, I'll be with you in a minute? That means they've acknowledged you and they're trying to make you feel like you're somebody. Number two, mention their name at the beginning of a conversation and maybe mention their name at the end of the conversation. Whatever you do, don't overdo it by constantly mentioning their name. Have you ever had that with a customer service rep on the phone when they keep mentioning your name again and again and it becomes very fake? Number three, agree with them. When they're talking to you, nod your head as if you're really listening. That makes a huge difference. Also, encourage them to talk about themselves. That really helps a lot because that opens a conversation and it keeps the microphone on their end. Now, don't disagree with somebody. It adds no value, folks. And if you have a good friend that you truly disagree with something that they're saying and you really believe that you're going to add value to that person, then instead of saying you're wrong, say, have you ever thought about this point? Or let me give you a different perspective that you might have not thought about. That becomes very important. I want to make a point on criticism because it's the opposite of people skills. Dale Carnegie is a famous author. He's known for how to win friends and influence people. And let me make a disclaimer. I have no association with this. I'm not getting paid for that. It's just one of the many hundreds of books that I've read on people skills. Now, Dale Carnegie talks about how criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts his sense of importance, and arouses resentment. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So if you have to give criticism, which many people call giving somebody feedback to a friend or even a teenager, do it with the sandwich method. You know that. Sandwich would be first you tell them something positive about them, how the many things are doing correctly. Then give them the feedback in the middle, and at the end say, I believe in you. I know you can get over this. A couple of more points. Whenever we're wrong, let's admit that we're wrong. Believe me, you're going to gain a lot of respect. Also, if you've had a verbal fight with somebody, go ahead and look at the other person's perspective. Believe me, it'll make a big difference and you'll go over the anger very quickly. Appreciate people. Give sincere appreciation. Give them an example. It'll come back to you tenfold. A quick point on marriages and relationships. I have read this in many books that in order to have an easygoing marriage, and marriage isn't easy, we know that, you're supposed to be opposites in character and likeness in activity. Opposites meaning one may be an introvert, one may be an extrovert. Likeness in activity would be that you have things in common that you like to do. So when you finally disagree on something and maybe you're having a verbal fight or something, then those things that you have in common, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to reconcile. Now, the reality is that most of us don't have that. And therefore, it means that we have to do unto others as we would like them to do to us. So therefore, get to know that person. Find out what they like so that you can sacrifice a little bit, and then they're going to do what you like, and you're going to be able to get along a lot better. We've come to the end of people skills. I'm going to read a few things because I'm going to summarize, and it's so critical that I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Remember, listen a lot more than speaking, and remember to be an active listener. Smile. Give them a warm handshake. Learn a person's name. In leadership, get to know somebody in order to influence them, make them feel important so that they're included. Appreciate people. Find out what they're interested in, and do not do this. Do not criticize, condemn, complain, and never, never say you're wrong. Thank you for joining us. If you found some of this information helpful, give me a like by clicking below, and please subscribe.